Everyone online tells you real estate is the only true way to build wealth. I ran the actual math for 20 years, and a basic passive index fund beats a rental property by almost $150,000, and the index fund never once asked me to replace a water heater. If you would rather be handed the answer than sit through a lecture, subscribe. It is free and it is less effort than the rest of this video. My wife Sarah came home from a neighborhood driveway party last week. She told me our neighbor Dave just bought his second rental property. She asked if we were falling behind financially. I told her Dave also bought a boat last year that he still cannot back out of his driveway, so we should reserve judgment. But she had a valid point. Everyone online tells you real estate is the only true way to get rich. I am not a financial advisor, I am just a father who still complains daily about a car he paid too much for. I am the guy who stayed up until 1 in the morning building a spreadsheet so I could give my wife a mathematically correct answer. Here is the decision we are weighing. You have $50,000 in cash sitting in the bank. You earn an average salary of $55,000 a year. You want that money to grow over the next 2 decades. Option A is a rental property. Option B is a broad index fund. We need strict rules to keep the math honest. For the rental, you are buying a $250,000 house with a 20% down payment. That eats your entire $50,000. You take out a 30-year mortgage at 7% interest. For the stock market option, you put that exact same $50,000 into a total market index fund. You set up an automatic contribution to add $300 a month. We have to state our assumptions out loud. We assume the stock market returns its historical average of 10% a year. We assume inflation is a constant baseline for both sides. We assume the index fund sits in a taxable brokerage account, so capital gains and dividend taxes will drag your actual return down slightly. And we assume your rental income does not stay flat. We will assume a 3% annual rent increase, which heavily benefits the real estate side. Let us run the numbers and see who actually wins. The first thing everyone looks at is the monthly cash flow. This is the math Dave does very loudly at parties. You buy the house, your mortgage payment is about $1,330 a month. You find a tenant who agrees to pay $1,800 a month in rent. On paper, you are making $470 a month in pure profit before you spend a single dollar on anything else. You feel like a financial genius. You tell everyone at work you are a real estate investor now. Meanwhile, I take my $50,000 and buy index funds. I set up my auto transfer of $300 a month. I receive a sterile confirmation email. I tell the guys at work I bought index funds. They blink, nod politely, and change the subject to football. There is zero social proof in index funds. By the end of year 1, my balance sits around $58,000, including my deposits. But I cannot hold it. I cannot drive my kids past it on the way to school and point at it. You get to drive past your rental property and physically see your investment. Score at the end of round 1, real estate 1, stocks 0. Humans like touching things, and $470 feels like free money. Now we run the real numbers, because that $470 a month is a ghost. Let's look at your real expenses. By year 3, you've collected roughly $66,000 in rent thanks to your 3% annual rent increases. Your mortgage payments cost you $47,880. That leaves you with roughly $18,000. That sounds great until the bills arrive. Property taxes run you about $3,000 a year. Insurance adds another $1,500 a year. Then there's maintenance. The general rule is to budget 1 to 2% of the property value per year. That's $2,500 to $5,000 annually for a $250,000 house. You replaced a water heater for $1,200. You fixed a leaking roof for $2,800. Do not forget vacancy. Rentals sit empty an average of 1 month per year. That's a full mortgage payment with zero income to cover it. You also lost rent and paid $600 to clean and list it. Over those 3 years, your actual net cash flow is negative $3,000. You are bleeding cash to keep this house afloat. And who's managing this property? You are. Hiring a property manager eats 8 to 10% of your monthly rent instantly. That's roughly $150 to $180 gone. So you do it yourself to save cash. You take phone calls on your lunch break. You spend your Saturday plunging a toilet. Subscribe and like this, then drop the money decision you're stuck on in the comments, and I'll run the numbers on it. My index fund required exactly 0 hours of my time. I handled 0 emergencies. Score at the end of round 2, real estate won, stocks won. Stocks pull ahead because the landlord realizes he just bought a part-time job. Let us jump to year 10. This is where the math usually breaks people. Your $250,000 property has appreciated maybe 3 to 4% a year. It is now worth roughly $335,000 to $350,000. You paid down the mortgage over a decade. Your remaining loan balance is about $172,000. That puts your home equity at roughly $175,000. You have $175,000 in home equity. But you cannot buy groceries with home equity. It is basically monopoly money trapped inside drywall until you convince a bank to let you borrow it back. And remember, you pay it out of pocket for repairs, taxes, insurance, and vacancies the whole time. You likely spent $20,000 to $35,000 keeping that house alive beyond your original down payment. My index fund is entirely unexciting. I put in my $50,000 upfront. I added my $300 a month. The 10% average return slowly compounded. My stock balance is now sitting at roughly $191,000. I only contributed $86,000 total. The entire rest of that balance is pure compound growth. Look at the tape. Your house equity is $175,000. My stock account is $191,000. Stocks are winning the math. Furthermore, you spent hundreds of hours working for your money. I spend 0 weekends fixing anything. I spent my weekends teaching my 6-year-old son, Leo, how to ride a bike. Score at the end of round 3, real estate 1, stocks 2. Stocks take a commanding lead on lifestyle. I have been beating up on real estate for 5 minutes, but Dave the neighbor is not entirely stupid. Real estate has 2 massive mathematical weapons that stocks do not. First is leverage. You used $50,000 to control a $250,000 asset. The bank gave you 5-to-1 leverage. When the house appreciates, it appreciates on the full $250,000, not just your down payment. I cannot walk into a bank and ask for a $200,000 loan to buy index funds. They will laugh me out of the lobby. Second is taxes. Real estate gives you a magic trick called depreciation. The government lets you deduct the theoretical wear and tear of the building from your taxable income, even if the property is actually going up in value. It is a completely legal tax shelter. You can also use a 1031 exchange to roll your profits into a bigger building and defer capital gains taxes entirely. Stocks do not offer this tax shelter. Furthermore, stocks are violent. In 2008, the market dropped roughly 37%. In March 2020, it dropped 34% in a single month. Watching a $150,000 portfolio fall to $95,000 in a few weeks will make you physically sick. A house does not print its dropping value on your phone screen every morning. If you are willing to treat real estate like an actual business with systems and tenant screening, it can absolutely outpace stocks. Score at the end of round 4, real estate 2, stocks 2. Real estate fights back and wins a brutal round on leverage and tax code. Let us look at the final scoreboard at year 20. Your property is now worth roughly $450,000 to $500,000. You still owe the bank roughly $114,000 because your early payments were almost entirely interest. Your equity is between $330,000 and $380,000. You collected rent all those years, and your 3% annual rent increases finally pulled you into positive cash flow. But after replacing a roof, a furnace, and dealing with turnover, your actual net profit from that cash flow is maybe $40,000 to $80,000 above what you spent. Your total net worth is roughly $430,000. My index fund has just been sitting there. With a 10% average return and $300 monthly deposits, my original $50,000 has grown to just under $600,000. I contributed $122,000 over those 2 decades. The rest of my final number is pure compounding. I had no tenants and no debt. Stocks beat real estate by almost $150,000. But here is the fatal blow. If I want to invest more aggressively, I just open my app and change my auto deposit from $300 to $500. That extra $200 a month pushes my 20-year total to nearly $750,000. It takes me 4 seconds. If you want to increase your real estate investment, you have to save up another $50,000, take out another mortgage, buy a second house, and completely double your weekend workload. You worked for your wealth. I waited for mine. While you were managing a second roof replacement, I was taking my 9-year-old daughter Mia to the park. Score at the end of round 5, real estate 2, stocks 3. Stocks take the definitive victory. An index fund will build you significantly more wealth than a single rental property over 20 years, and it will cost you 0 hours of your life. This verdict only flips if you assume rent grows by 3% every single year, while your stock portfolio gets dragged down heavily by capital gains taxes, and you are willing to treat real estate as an active part-time job where you scale up to multiple doors. I showed Sarah the spreadsheet. She looked at the final numbers, looked at Dave across the street yelling at his boat trailer, and agreed with my conclusion. We're sticking to the market. Which brings us to the rule for this video. It is called the Phantom Escrow Rule. I will say it again, the Phantom Escrow Rule. Whenever you buy an index fund, you set up an automatic monthly deposit for 1% of your portfolio value to simulate the maintenance a house would force you to pay. You set it on auto pay once, and you never look at it again. Remember the Phantom Escrow Rule. Automate a 1% maintenance fee into your stock account and let it ride. Subscribe to the channel so you stop making financial decisions based on what your neighbor does. Because remember, the rich dad move is the easy one. Set it and forget it.